Blessings Bakanyiselwa. So now that we are aware of the mystery of the known, the unknown, and the unknowable, we are ready for further teachings of Abangoma Abafihliweyo. The ground has been prepared. Now we must dig to lay the foundation. So this is our third lesson, lesson 3 on the teachings Zabangoma Abafihliweyo. And today we are on the mystery of Idlozi Netongo. That is our main topic. We are going to be using a couple of references, mainly from The Ancient Wisdom of Africa by Patrick Bowen and Indaba My Children by Credo Mutwa, plus maybe a bit from The Zulu Shaman, right? So for those who have these books, you should bring them out close. In fact, with Credo Mutwa, I feel we should have like video lessons dedicated to his teachings specifically, because Credo Mutwa is worthy to be studied by all initiates. A whole spectrum of his life is a library. You know, he was a living bundle of timeless lessons. But we will get into that soon enough. For now, our focus is on the Abangoma Bafihliweyo, specifically on their teachings about the self. I've explained on the previous lessons that the only reason the ancient people taught us about God, it was because they were trying to teach us about ourselves. We also covered the fact that behind all traditions and religions lies the spirituality of the self. We also touched on the mysteries of Idlozi, the Ena, the self. Then we spoke about the mysteries of God, like the mystery of Morena and Atin. In fact, I also wanted to continue with that and show it in terms of diagrams, but will be there'll be a lesson for that. Today we are on the mysteries of the self in relation to Idlozi Netongo. For this post, I'm going to have to stick to these words without using any other, because traditionally, when such knowledge is taught, we cannot use any other words besides Idlozi Netongo, which is really the only true pair. Again, if you find it hard to understand this information the first time, don't bite your lips off your face. It's okay. Take your time to understand by listening to this over and over. This is why these teachings were reserved for high initiates. They are not for lazy thinkers. The teachings will always serve to tax your thinking one way or the other. Right? So a good place to start is to look at what Mankanyezi said about the teachings of Abangoma Abafihliweyo. Your teachers are doubtless learned men, but why do they strive to force their beliefs on us without first learning what our beliefs are? Not one of them, not even Sobantu, knows anything of our real belief. They think that we worship the spirits of our ancestors, that we believe our spirits when we die enter the bodies of animals. They, without proof or inquiry, condemn us, the Isanusi, as deluders of our more ignorant brethren, or else they declare us to be wicked wizards having dealings with evil spirits. To show how ignorant they are, I shall tell you what we teach the common man, the ordinary people, the ordinary native. We teach that he has a body, and within that body is a soul, and within the soul is a spark or portion of something we call Itongo, which the common man interprets as the universal spirit of the tribe. We teach that after death, the soul, Idlozi, after hovering for a space near the body, departs to a place called Esilweni, place of beasts. This is a very different thing, as you can see, from entering the body of a beast. In Esilweni, the soul assumes a shape, part beast and part animal. This is its true shape, for man's nature is very like that of the beast, save for the spark of something much higher, of which the common man knows little. For a period which is long or short, according to the strength of the animal nature, the soul remains in Esilweni, but at last it throws aside its beast-like shape and moves onward to a place of rest. There it sleeps, till a time comes when it dreams that something to do or to learn awaits it on earth. Then it awakes and returns through the place of beasts to earth and is born again as a child. Again and again does the soul travel through the body, through the place of beasts, to its rest, dreams its dream, and returns to the body, till at last man becomes true man, and his soul, when he dies, goes straight to its rest, and thence after a space, having ceased to dream of earth, moves on and becomes one with one with that from whence it came, the eternal. Then does the man know that instead of being but himself apart, he is truly all the tribe, and the tribe is he. This is what we teach. I say, for this is the utmost the common man is capable of comprehending. Indeed, men have only a vague comprehension, even of this much. But the belief of us, wiser ones, is something far wider and greater, though similar. It is far too wide and great for the common man's comprehension, or for yours at present. But I may say this much, that we know that Itongo is not the mere spirit of the tribe, but it is the spirit within and above all men, even all things, and at the end, all men being one in spirit are all brothers in flesh. So from this passage, we learn from Omankanyezi that as a human being, you have a body, and inside this body is Idlozi, and then still inside Idlozi, you have something much higher, which is Itong. This is quite similar to what Credo Mutwa said. He said, and I quote, I also learned that the bulky creature that I see as myself is not really me. My real self is a tiny little human being or a humanoid who resides inside a burning little star. This little star, brighter than the sun but smaller than a point of a needle, is deep inside my brain, at the back of the skull. End quote. So these two elders are basically talking about the same thing. From these things, we also understand that there is a relationship between Idlozi and Etong. Mankanyezi continues to say that the common man understands that Itongo is the spirit of the tribe, whereas the wiser ones know that it is the universal spirit of everything. Mankanyezi also explains that after death, Idlozi goes to the place of beast, Esilweni, and there it assumes a shape half animal, half human. Because naturally, we are quite animalistic, except for that part of ourselves which is Itong, a part of ourselves that we know nothing about. Right? Now, Mankanyezi is going very deep. You know, listen to what he says. He says, for a period which is long or short, according to the strength of the animal nature, the soul remains in Esilweni, but at last it throws aside its beast-like shape and moves onward to a place of rest. There it sleeps till a time comes when it dreams that something to do or to learn awaits it on earth. Then it awakes and returns through the place of beasts to earth and is born again as a child. And again it undergoes the same process. Right? It goes to the place of beasts and then a place of rest until it dreams that it has something to do, and then it comes back. This is a very it's a very deep mystery, because personally, I've seen this before. I've experienced this more than once. I was very shocked when the first time I actually found out about these things. When I found out about Abakhulu Basekhema, about Abangoma Abafihliweyo, and how they used to describe, the mysteries of the afterlife, basically. So I have seen this before. The place of peace is there, and besides that, what we have here is a very, very deep mystery. You understand? And as Mankanyezi is putting it, this was just a way of explaining it to the common man. The wiser ones have a much, much broader understanding of these things. So we also learn from Umankanyezi that the soul then repeats this process again and again, again and again. It will come back as a child, be born, live its life, die, go to a place of peace, then go to a place of rest, and then come back, and all those things until man becomes true man, until the soul is now unified with its real self, which is Itong. Right? That's why when I spoke about the initiation of the self, I said this is the initiation that everyone is undergoing, basically. It's the initiation that all humans are undergoing. Why? Because we all have to reincarnate, come back into this life until we are finally united with our Itong. And then we have now achieved the point of life. We've achieved the goal of life, the whole reason why God created, But we're not gonna go there now. So now that we've heard what Mankanyezi has to say about the mysteries of Idlozi Netong, let us go deeper into what Mkhulu Credo Mutwa has to say. We are on Indaba My Children, page 568. My son, the aliens teach you that God created the soul, and we say this is not so. The soul is an integral part of God, and all souls were created when God created Himself. The soul exists because God exists. The soul, like God, has no reason for existing. Neither does it have any reason for not existing. One can neither deny nor prove the existence of the soul. But listen very carefully now, my son, for your spiritual foster mother will tell you more secrets which you must pass on to the future generations of the chosen. A human being and an animal has something else in addition to the soul, which exists within him. We call this something else a self. When a child is born, it does not possess a self. The self builds up slowly of the memories and thoughts and experiences as it grows up into a man or a woman. If you were to see your Anna, you would find that it looks exactly like you. But it is not of flesh and blood, it is a ghost of transparent mist. When you see what many fools think is a ghost of a departed person, you do not see the soul, but that person's Anna. The Anna is not immortal. It lives on for some time after death, after the death of the body, and can often be seen. It is this the witch doctor summons up from the land of the spirits, and this is what we honor and consult in times of trouble to pray to the gods for us. Right? So if we want to take a closer look at these two passages, besides the one that I've already mentioned, where Kreromuta talks about him being a bulky creature, right? Between these two passages, between these two extracts, between what Mankanyezi has said and what Mkhulu Kreromuta is now saying, it is basically the same thing. And we shouldn't be surprised because Umankanyezi, we are basically studying a teacher, a Kobela and a Twasa, a teacher and a student, really. So this information should be the same. And the only difference is that Credo Mutwa uses the word soul instead of the word itong. Umankanyezi uses the word itong, and then he also uses the word ena, Credo Mutwa, right? And then Mankanyezi uses the direct word idlozi. They are both speaking about the same thing. These are the words of a Gobela and a Twasa, a student and a teacher. That's why the information is aligned. You understand? So this is our main focus, idlozi netongo. So now I want us to also look at what uMandlalanga has to say now, because now Mandlalanga takes it even a step further in talking about itongo. So we're basically going to be looking at these different works, and then after that we're just going to have one long teaching about what this thing is all about. You know, we are now putting everything into context, right? But after we hear what uMandlalanga has to say, another great elder of Abangoma Abafihliweyo. So Mandlalanga says, the itongo is all that ever was, is, or ever shall be, conceivable and inconceivable. The itongo is all things are of it, but the sum of all things is not the itongo. The itongo is all power there is, all power is of it, but all power conceivable is not the itongo. The itongo is all wisdom there is, all wisdom is of it, all wisdom perceivable is not the itongo. All substance, all power, all wisdom is of it, and it is in them and manifest through them, but it is also above them and beyond them, but eternally unmanifest. Man who is of the itongo can never know the itongo while he is man. All he can know are certain manifestations which come within the range of his perception. So basically what uMandlalanga Mkhanyiselwa here is saying is that itongo is everything, it is the source of everything, yet it is beyond everything. When he says itongo is all things are of itongo, but the sum of all things is not itongo. He's basically saying that itongo is unknowable. Itongo is everything, and yet it is beyond everything that we know. So therefore, it is on the unknowable side of things. All right? So now we've come to a very important aspect of our teaching, right? So for this, I would like your utmost attention. Please pay close attention and listen carefully, because we are rounding everything off now. Everything begins from unity, and then from unity comes separation and differentiation. When anything manifests into this world, it separates itself from unity, and it only manifests half of itself, leaving the other half on the unmanifested in divine unity. Though the other half is unmanifested, it is always connected to its manifested counterpart. Nothing could exist in this world if it didn't have its other half on the unmanifest. Right? So it is with human beings. When we are born into this world, we separated ourselves from divine unity, and we manifested only half of ourselves, leaving the other half unmanifested. Our manifested part of ourselves is called idlozi, and the unmanifested part of ourselves is called itongo. In this world, there's only idlozi netongo, the manifested and the unmanifested. That's why I said idlozi netongo are the only true pair. We can further say idlozi is everything that you know, and itongo is everything that you don't know. To put it more precisely, for those who have watched the previous lesson about the unknown, the known and the unknowable, idlozi is the known and the unknown. And then itongo is the unknowable. If you watch the previous lesson, this should make more sense to you. Idlozi is composed of everything that we know and everything we can know, whereas Itongo is simply the unknowable. On the last part of my previous video, I said the self is knowable, you remember, and yet there's another part of yourself that is unknowable. This is exactly what I meant. Idlozi is knowable and Itongo is unknowable. This is because the sum of all things that we know we call Idlozi. Remember I said Idlozi is everything that is knowable and Itongo is everything that is unknowable. Mandlalanga said, Itongo is all power there is. All power is of it, but all power conceivable is not the Itongo. So the Itongo is the source of all power basically, yet the power of Itongo can never and cannot be perceived. It is unknowable. And all the power that we know is not Itongo. We can say all the power because we know it, right? It represents something that we know. So we can say it is part Idlozi because Idlozi is everything that we know. Mandlalanga also said, all substance, all power, all wisdom is of Itongo. It is in them and manifest through them, yet it is also above them and beyond them, but eternally unmanifest. Right? So Itongo is eternally unmanifest. He even said that man, being man, he can never really know what Itongo is. So basically what they're saying is Itongo is everything and it is within everything, yet we can never know what it is because it is unknowable. It is beyond everything. You understand? We know that it is everything, in everything, but we don't know what it is. So we can only say Itongo. When we call it Itongo, we are not saying we know it. We are merely pointing it out. What we know is that it is unknowable. Man who is of the Itongo can never know the Itongo while he is still man. All he can know are certain manifestations which come within the range of his perception. So we can never know what Itongo actually is, but we can witness its effects and its results. I hope we are still together. Idlozi, Netongo do not have any other equivalent. Some may be tempted to say, oh, but this sounds like Itongo is God. But abafihliweyo, abangoma abafihliweyo would say no. God is not really Itongo. Because with these many religions that we have in a way proven that we already know who God is and we already know what God is. Since we know who God is, then God is part of everything that we know. God is part of Idlozi. We say God is the Father. God is a jealous God. God is a vengeful God. God is merciful. God is loving, etc. All these descriptions of God, including his 99 names that describe him, means that we know about God. We know who God is. Therefore, God is part of Idlozi, everything that we know. We even say God has a goddess, but Itongo is beyond gender, as it is unknowable. Therefore, God is not Itongo. He is part of Idlozi, everything that we know. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying this to minimize God, but rather to point out the fact that we already have many ideas about what and who God is, and these ideas do not fit into the structure of what Itongo actually is. Others may be tempted to say, Idlozi Netongo is the car and the bar. But we say, no, that is not so, because the car and the bar are knowable. Thus, they are part of Idlozi, part of what we know. We know that the Ka is the life force and the Ba is the soul, and it is a glowing sphere. Therefore, the Ka and Ba are part of Idlozi, the knowable. Others may say Idlozi neThongo seem to be describing the spiritual and the physical. Again, we say that this is not so, because the spiritual and the physical can be clearly defined. Therefore, they are only part of Idlozi, what we know, and therefore they cannot describe what Idlozi neThongo actually is. That's pair. Others may assume Idlozi neThongo is the conscious and the superconscious or supraconscious. Some may even say it's the conscious and the unconscious. Again, we will have to decline such proposals because all these concepts are clearly defined. We know what the conscious is, we know what the unconscious is, whereas Idlozi is unknowable. I did say that in order for these teachings to be taught as they are, we are going to have to be abstract and esoteric when we approach these ideas. Right? Hence, we must adhere to strict definitions and also avoid using translations, especially when it comes to the words Idlozi neThongo, which, as I said, are the only true pair. The rest are just the inventories of Idlozi. And in doing this, we are being true to the spirit of the teachings of Abangoma Abafihliweyo. Alright. So let us now look at the differences between the two. So to differentiate between these two, we can say Idlozi begins at birth and ends at death. Idlozi has a beginning and an end, whereas Ithongo has no beginning and it has no end. It is beyond birth, therefore beyond death. Idlozi is not immortal. It is perishable. In fact, it even needs nourishment even after death. Whereas Ithongo is immortal and eternal, always is and always will be, never ever needs any form of nourishment. Idlozi is everything that you know. Ithongo is unknowable. Idlozi is a mirror image of yourself. It looks exactly like you, but a bit transparent, whereas Ithongo is formless. Idlozi is manifested, but Ithongo is unmanifested. Idlozi is knowable, but Ithongo is unknowable. So this is the difference, the main difference between Idlozi and Ithongo. These two are always together like two sides of the same coin. Idlozi cannot exist without Ithongo. Ithongo can exist without Idlozi. These are the two sides of yourself. One can be known, another can never be known. Going forward, we'll be talking more about Idlozi, that part of yourself that is knowable, that part of yourself that we can know. When we talk about your seven bodies, your chakra system, your kundalini, your higher self, etc., we are basically talking about the part of yourself that is knowable, which we can sum up as Idlozi. And I'll keep using this same terminology of Idlozi neThongo, and when I do, you must be clear about exactly what I mean. This initiation deals with uniting your two sides and thus achieving what we can call ubuthongo or ubunye neThongo. So be sure to like, subscribe and share, because this information needs to reach as many people as possible. We will be continuing with our lesson on the next video. For now, we can only say Zao.